Now, the US government continues to deny the existence of these weather modification programs, if that's what you'd like to call them. I simply call it toxic chemical spraying. They like to call it weather modification programs. And Congress is now planning to legalize this sort of stuff. I mean, if weather modification programs are not being conducted, then why is a bill even needed? Why is it being fast-tracked? These programs are conducted with no publicity disclosed, no oversight whatsoever. Farmers from Texas to Nebraska have been making public outcries about the altered weather patterns due to weather modification programs that are being openly conducted in their states. And weather modification programs, this is what they keep calling them. These things are not fiction, they are fact, okay? Nearly 100 publicly disclosed programs were conducted on continental USA last year, and a number of them are expected to be performed this year as well. And all programs such as this are considered military programs, and of course all military programs are considered classified and remain unpublicized, okay? Now, what they're telling us that it is stratospheric seeding for reduction of global warming. But global warming is a complete myth, folks. Man-made global warming is a myth. It is a lie. There are 31,000 scientists who actually are taking Al Gore to court for fraud at the moment over the issue of global warming, and so they should be. The Earth is heating up. There is global warming occurring, but they neglect to tell you that global warming is also happening on Mars. It's also happening on Jupiter. It's also happening on Saturn. It's in fact happening on every single planet in this solar system. Why? Because of solar cycle 24. The sun goes through solar cycles every 11 years, and it goes through major cycles every 33 years, and it goes through even more major cycles every 110 years. We are currently in such a cycle. It is a naturally occurring cycle. It is nothing to do with what we are doing on this Earth. Sure, I mean, we're doing some bad pollution around the area, and we need to probably be a little bit more responsible. But we are not causing global warming. And whatever they are doing to the atmosphere is not being done to combat global warming. Okay? These people are liars. They are bare-faced liars, and they are spraying you with chemicals. So don't let it happen. Stop it happening. Go and see these politicians and demand that it is stopped. And if it is not stopped, take them to court. Take your government to court, because the people are sovereign. I keep saying this. The people are sovereign. The government is the servants of the people, not vice versa. And they have no right to be poisoning the air of the citizens and poisoning the soil and poisoning the ground. I mean, it's absolutely absurd. The latest rain test taken in Shasta County was hundreds of times the range of normal for aluminium and 7 times the maximum contamination level. I mean, this is just not acceptable. This is not acceptable. There are lots of concerned citizens that have formed groups in major population areas, and they're all testing similar results. This absolutely has to be taken in hand. See, a lot of people are waiting for martial law. They're waiting for all of these things to happen and all this terrible bad stuff that the New World Order is going to do. A lot of people seem to think the New World Order is going to appear like some sort of a new army on their doorstep or something, and maybe it will once things escalate to that point. But what they don't seem to understand is that while people are preparing for all of this bad stuff to come, all of this bad stuff is going on around them right now. People are not looking at what's happening now around them. They're not looking at the aerial spraying. They're completely oblivious to things like Codex Alimentarius. They're ignoring the fluoride in their water. Now, between Codex Alimentarius and this aerial spraying and the fluoride-induced apathy that people are sort of locked into, I mean, it's going to be game, set, and match before anyone knows it if they don't wake up. People really do need to wake up and address these issues. You need to make noise about it. Print out pamphlets, do letterbox drops, go to your local council meetings, write to your local members, and demand action. Don't ask for an explanation. Demand action be taken against the criminals who are doing this. And if it's military, if it is the military that is doing this, then these people are criminals. These people are criminals. Whoever is in charge of the military is a criminal, okay? If this is being condoned by the president, then the president is a criminal. There's no grey area here. This simply cannot be allowed to continue. And the only way it's going to stop is if people wake up. I mean, you can't expect everyone else to do it for you, folks. You can't think, well, good people are making noise about this. Well, the question is, are you making noise about it? Because everybody should be making noise about this. If you're not part of the solution, then you're part of the problem, folks. As unfortunate as that may be to admit to yourself, if you're not part of the solution, then you're part of the problem. Don't allow yourself to be part of the problem. I mean, the bottom line is that the air quality officials have a legal and moral and political responsibility to locate the source of these contaminants, which of course is the aerial spraying, and they need to take steps to stop it. If it's not their responsibility and it's not your responsibility, then whose responsibility is it? And why would the air quality officials refuse to investigate these dangerous findings in spite of repeated requests by citizens and supervisors? You've got to ask yourself this question. Are these people really in charge? Are we really in charge of what's going on this planet anymore? How did things get to the state where we are now having heavy metals and toxins put into our food, heavy metals and toxins sprayed in our atmosphere, and toxic waste put in our water supply under the pretext of it being good for our teeth? People need to wake up. I mean, I don't know how to say this to people any more blatantly. People just have to wake up. You can't expect other people to take control of this situation for you if you're unwilling to take control of it yourself. You really do need to make some noise about this, folks. So people might ask, well, how did things get this bad to begin with? How did we ever get to this situation? Why has the world even gone down the path that it has? Well, folks, it started a very, very long time ago. I've talked in my films and I've talked on other talks about the bloodline that goes way back to ancient times. And this bloodline has done some insidious things to humanity, and they are still doing insidious things to humanity. What they're doing with Codex and this aerial spraying, I mean, it's just shocking. It's absolutely shocking, and it's completely unacceptable. Of course, you'll notice that while these people are introducing Codex Alimentarius and genetically modifying all of our food, whether we want them to or not, they're also saying that they would prefer that only organic food now be served in the palace and only organic food now be served in the White House. Because these people know that it's not safe to eat the genetically modified food. So they've got their own organic gardens where they're going to be quite happy and they're going to feed themselves and they're going to be able to maintain their health because they have organic gardens and they've got all the seeds and they've taken them and stored them in underground vaults where the people can't get to them. So they don't really care. But you've got to ask yourself, why are they doing this? Why are they doing this now? Why, when they are pushing for genetically modified food, and why, when they are storing seeds underground, do they suddenly say that they want only organic food served on their tables? They didn't say that before. They were quite happy to eat the same food that the people are eating. But now they only want organic food. You have to ask yourself why. I mean, that is a huge telltale sign, folks. I mean, these people won't eat the food that they are making you eat. And they're only getting away with it because the people are letting them get away with it. People are just letting it happen. And I blame fluoride. I really do blame fluoride for a lot of it. I mean, fluoride, sure, it dumbs you down to a certain degree. It lowers the IQ, but one of its major things that it does, apart from calcifying the pineal gland, like we discussed last week, is it makes you apathetic. It makes people just docile and apathetic, and you think, well, these chemtrails are pretty bad, and some of the stuff they're doing is pretty bad, but I just can't really be bothered going and talking to anyone about it now. And, well, you know, what's on the TV? Let's just watch some TV, and let's all just calm down and not make a fuss about it. And this is exactly what fluoride does. This is exactly what it's put in your food for. It locks off your spiritual center. It dumbs you down, lowers your IQ, And it stops you thinking very clearly, and it stops you wanting to take action. It makes you apathetic. That's one of the main things that fluoride does. Now, people need to address this. I've spoken about it so often, and people are still just letting it happen, and they're still waiting for other people to take responsibility for their lives for them. Well, you can't do this, folks. You've got to do it for yourself. You've got to take responsibility for these things yourself. Remember who you are. Remember the power that you have. And understand that the power that we talk about, the people power that is possible to change the world, can only really happen if all the people get involved.